In February 2025, President Donald Trump announced a new economic plan called Tariffs Trumps. This policy introduces a 25% tax on certain imported goods, including cars, medicines, and semiconductor chips. The main goals of this plan are to boost manufacturing in the U.S., decrease reliance on foreign products, and fix trade imbalances. Overview of the policy: the Tariffs Trumps plan is set to begin on April 2, 2025. By placing heavy taxes on specific imports, the government hopes to make foreign products more expensive in the U.S. This move is expected to encourage companies to shift their production to the U.S., creating more jobs and increasing industrial production. President Trump believes that these tariffs are necessary to reduce trade deficits and protect American businesses. Industries affected. The proposed tariff plan is expected to significantly impact key industries, particularly automobiles, pharmaceuticals, and semiconductor chips. The automobile sector faces a 25% tax on imported vehicles, a move aimed at encouraging manufacturers to build more cars in the U.S. This policy seeks to strengthen domestic auto production by reducing reliance on foreign factories and creating more jobs within the country. By discouraging imports, the government hopes companies will shift production to the U.S., boosting the manufacturing sector and driving economic growth. Additionally, a stronger domestic auto industry could help correct trade imbalances and make the U.S. less vulnerable to global supply chain disruptions. Similarly, the pharmaceutical industry is a major focus of the tariff plan. The U.S. healthcare system heavily depends on imported medicines, a reliance that led to shortages during global health crises. The new tariffs on pharmaceutical imports aim to promote domestic drug production, ensuring a stable and self-sufficient supply of essential medicines. Strengthening local pharmaceutical manufacturing not only enhances national security, but also reduces dependence on foreign suppliers, especially those that may restrict exports in emergencies. Another critical sector affected by the tariff plan is semiconductor chips, essential for smartphones, computers, and automobiles. The U.S. has long relied on foreign manufacturers, particularly in Asia, for these vital components. By imposing tariffs on imported chips, the government hopes to promote domestic semiconductor production, securing supply chains and reducing reliance on foreign sources. Increasing domestic chip manufacturing could enhance U.S. competitiveness in the global technology market while improving national security by reducing dependence on foreign-made chips. The tariff plan aims to bolster domestic industries, create jobs, and improve economic resilience by reducing reliance on foreign manufacturing in crucial sectors. Effects on the economy. The new tariffs are expected to bring significant changes to the U.S. economy. One of the primary effects is an increase in local production. Since imported goods will become more expensive due to the tariffs, American-made products may become more attractive to consumers. This shift in demand could boost U.S. manufacturing as companies invest more in domestic production to meet market needs. As a result, more manufacturing jobs may be created, benefiting American workers and helping to lower unemployment rates. However, businesses that rely on imported materials could struggle to keep costs down, which might reduce their overall competitiveness. Another major impact is higher prices for consumers. Many products in the U.S. market depend on foreign materials or components. For example, car manufacturers using imported parts may have to pay higher costs, leading to more expensive vehicles for buyers. Similarly, prices for household electronics, clothing, and other essential goods could increase. This rise in costs may place financial pressure on consumers, particularly those with lower incomes. The risk of inflation is another major concern. As the prices of goods and services climb, the purchasing power of American households may decline. Economic experts estimate that the average U.S. family might spend an additional $800 per year due to these tariffs. This increase in living costs could make it more challenging for families to afford necessities and may lower their overall standard of living. Additionally, trade tensions between the U.S. and other countries could escalate as affected nations impose retaliatory tariffs on American exports. This could hurt U.S. farmers, manufacturers, and other industries that depend on foreign markets. While tariffs aim to strengthen domestic production, they also carry risks, such as reduced global trade and economic uncertainty. The long-term effects will depend on how businesses and consumers adapt to the changing economic landscape, Reactions from businesses. Different industries have responded in various ways to the new tariffs. In the automobile industry, some car manufacturers are worried that increased production costs will lead to higher vehicle prices. If prices rise too much, U.S. automakers might find it difficult to compete in the global market, potentially losing customers to foreign brands with lower costs. In the pharmaceutical industry, reactions are mixed. Some drug manufacturers see the tariffs as an opportunity to expand domestic production, reducing dependence on foreign suppliers. However, others fear that tariffs could lead to shortages of essential ingredients, making it harder to produce medications efficiently. Additionally, higher research and development costs may slow down the creation of new drugs. Meanwhile, technology companies, particularly those that rely on imported semiconductor chips, are concerned about the impact on production and innovation. Many tech firms depend on these chips to manufacture smartphones, computers, and other electronic devices. If tariffs make these components more expensive, production costs will rise, possibly delaying the release of new products and reducing competitiveness in the global market. Political developments. Alongside the tariff announcement, President Trump appointed Howard Lutnick as the new Secretary of Commerce. Lutnick supports strong trade policies and will be responsible for overseeing the tariffs. He has dismissed concerns about inflation, saying that strengthening American industries will have long-term benefits. President Trump also introduced the Fair and Reciprocal Plan, a strategy to restore balance in U.S. trade relationships and counter unfair trade practices by other countries. International reactions. The global response to the new tariffs has been mixed, with various countries expressing concerns about the potential economic consequences. Among the United States' key trade partners, Canada and Mexico have voiced their worries regarding the impact of these tariffs on their economies. Both nations have deeply integrated supply chains with the U.S., and experts caution that these new trade barriers could disrupt production networks, increase costs for businesses, and lead to job losses across all three countries. Such disruptions could weaken North American economic cooperation and create uncertainty for industries that rely on cross-border trade. Japan, a country that depends heavily on exports for economic growth, is also closely watching the developments. Japan has been experiencing a period of economic recovery, and any significant restrictions on trade with the U.S. could affect its industries, particularly automotive and technology exports. The Japanese government has signaled that it will carefully assess the situation to understand how these tariffs might impact businesses and economic stability. Given that the U.S. is one of Japan's major trade partners, any slowdown in exports could have broader consequences for Japan's overall economic trajectory. Historical perspective. The tariffs trumps. Policy reflects past protectionist trade measures. While such policies have sometimes driven short-term economic growth, they often result in long-term inefficiencies, increased consumer costs, and strained international trade relations, ultimately posing challenges to economic stability and global market competitiveness. In conclusion, the tariffs trumps plan represents a major change in U.S. trade policy, emphasizing the protection of American industries. Supporters argue that it will boost domestic jobs and strengthen the economy, while critics warn of potential downsides such as higher prices, inflation, and increased global trade tensions. As the policy moves forward, businesses, consumers, and policymakers are closely monitoring its impact and preparing for adjustments. The long-term effects remain uncertain, but its implementation marks a significant shift in the nation's approach to international trade and economic strategy. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you.